evidence and information that challenge the official story are very rarely allowed to present that information. There has to date been no open and honest discussion and presentation of evidence and information that challenges the official story. It seems that the only ammunition that these talk show hosts have is to insult and ridicule the messengers because they desperately want to avoid the evidence and the message itself. In this video documentary, we've heard from experts and seen video footage and photographs that challenge whether or not the planes that hit the North and South Towers were actually commercial aircraft. We've seen video footage and photographs and again heard from experts that challenge what happened at the Pentagon on September 11th. We've seen video footage and reporters' accounts of what happened in Shanksville, Pennsylvania in regard to Flight 93. The fact that there was no recognizable wreckage and a crater only 15 feet across. We've also examined video and photographs of the collapse of the buildings in New York City. We've seen how the mainstream media has twisted, distorted, and fabricated information. We've seen how they've attacked, ridiculed, demonized, and discredited anyone who dare challenge the official story of September 11th. With all this information that challenges the official story, we have to ask the question, is there any evidence that supports the official story? On September 23rd of 2001, Condoleezza Rice held a news conference, and she stated, "We have definitive proof and evidence that links Osama bin Laden and the Taliban to the attacks on September 11th, and we will release this information in due time." At the date of this production, we're still waiting to see that evidence. In October of 2001, this video was released and shown to the people of America and the world, and we were all told that this was Osama bin Laden accepting responsibility for the attacks on September 11th. But let's compare the Osama in this video to a photograph of the known Osama. When you compare the two, you'll notice that the Osama in the video has a shorter nose. He also appears to be a little chubbier. As the Osama in the video waves his hand, look carefully. You'll see he's wearing a ring and a wristwatch. Jewelry is forbidden by people of the Islamic faith. You'll also notice that when he signs on this pad, he's signing with his right hand. We know that the real Osama was left-handed. So we have to ask this question, where did this video come from? And why was it fabricated to mislead the people of America and the world? If you visit the FBI.gov website, you'll find the 10 most wanted list. And on that list, of course, is Osama bin Laden. You can pull up his wanted poster, and on that poster is a list of charges that he's wanted for. The curious thing is that nowhere in the list of charges is any mention of September 11th. The Muckraker report contacted Rex Toome, a spokesperson for the FBI, and asked why was there no mention of the attacks on September 11th on Osama's wanted poster. Mr. Toome's response was, "We have no hard evidence linking Osama bin Laden with the attacks on September 11th. Condoleezza Rice had stated that they would release their information in due time. Ladies and gentlemen, when you charge someone with conspiracy to murder 3,000 people, and you have no evidence to back up that charge of conspiracy, that makes the charge a conspiracy theory. That means that the entire war on terror is based upon fraud. We've been told over and over again that this is a war on terror. But is this a war on terror or a war for profit? We know that there are hundreds of government contractors in Iraq right now with countless contracts. Let's take a look at one of these government contracts, a no-bid contract that was awarded to Halliburton. The Houston Chronicle reported that 82,000 gallons of liquid propane fuel were to be transported to Baghdad. But they weren't going to be transported from the United States to Baghdad. They were going to be transported from Kuwait to Baghdad, a distance of approximately 300 miles. I contacted a liquid propane company and asked how many trucks it would take to transport 82,000 gallons of fuel. I was told about 10 trucks. I asked, how much would you charge to transport those 10 trucks approximately 300 miles? I was told approximately $1 per mile per truck, for a total of approximately $3,000. I asked if this was a government contract, how much would the charge be? And I was told that it would be 2 or 3 times that amount. So let's say it would be $10,000. The question is, how much was Halliburton awarded to transport this fuel? The answer, $27.5 million. How many of your tax dollars went to pay Halliburton to transport this fuel? Wouldn't it have been cheaper to have 10 privates drive those trucks that distance? The question is, how much money is coming out of the United States taxpayers' dollars to pay for this war and is being funneled into the pockets of companies like Halliburton? Is this a war for profit? You decide. After reviewing the video and photographic evidence, the number one question that people ask is, well, if the plane didn't hit the Pentagon, where did it go? If the plane that hit the South Tower wasn't Flight 175, then where did it go? Where are those people? Well, we can't answer that question, and if we were attempting to do so, we would be engaging in conspiracy theory. However, consider the following scenario. Let's say that you have to put a loved one on a bus bound from New York to Boston. You put them on a Greyhound bus, and off it goes. A couple hours later, there's a news report that claims that the Greyhound bus bound from New York to Boston skidded out of control, crashed, and exploded. A couple weeks later, someone who happened to be sightseeing with a camcorder shows up with a videotape of the event. And upon examining that video footage, we see that this bus says Trailways on the side. Question, where did the Greyhound bus go? Well, if your loved one was on that Greyhound bus, you'd want to know, wouldn't you? The next question is, should we ridicule and demonize anyone who dares ask, where's the Greyhound bus? Should we likewise ridicule and demonize the person who took the video? Should we negate and ignore the video footage of the Trailways bus simply because we don't know where the Greyhound bus went? Well, that's exactly where we are in regard to the video footage that you've seen. We may never find out what happened to Flight 77 or Flight 175, but the video and photographic evidence screams that we need a new investigation.
Dear brother, can you help me? Help me find my way. I seem to lost my way. Please, brother, dear brother, can you show me right from wrong, to help us get along?
I would like to have every American get serious about being a citizen of the United States of America instead of just being an inhabitant, and start thinking on their own, because 9/11 is the single most important event to happen to the United States since Pearl Harbor.
For those people who question 9/11, who maybe support the work that the 9/11 truth community people have produced, for them to lift their voices. This is supposed to be the land of the free and the home of the brave. Let's be brave. Let's get involved. Lift your voice.
We can't let this stand. We cannot move forward. We have to leave a legacy of the Constitution, our rights, our Bill of Rights, everything for our children. Even if we don't get to enjoy it in our own lifetime, we have to fight for it.
There is some suspicion that what hit the trade centers may have been military planes. Might not have even been the flights that we were told. Of course, this raises up the horrific idea that, well, then what happened to the poor passengers? It's one thing if they were killed as collateral damage in some sort of attack, and it would be a totally different thing if they were landed somewhere, offloaded, and then just cold-blooded murdered. The problem is we don't have the answers to all of this because there's never been a truthful